Alyson Harvey, and we're going to talk about Little Bird. Say hi, Alyson.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Alyson.
Thank you for being here, Alyson. I'm really excited. We're going to talk about Little Bird, why I chose it for you, and we'll talk about a little bit of practice strategies as people begin to work on this etude for this week. So Alyson is a senior in high school, and she is preparing to go to college next year. I know you're having such a weird senior year with COVID, and I hate that that's going on for you guys. But Alyson's a fantastic clarinetist. She played in the all-state band all 3 years. Was it all 3 years of high school?
It wasn't all three, but it
Oh,
was
okay.
the past two.
Two. Okay,
So,
so junior and senior year. That's great. And then the Tulsa Youth Orchestra, is it 2 years in that as well?
no, it was just last year.
Oh, that's
The
right. And
senior
this
year.
year's weird. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
she did do that last year. Did you enjoy that experience?
Oh yeah. That was my favorite musical experience I've had so far. And I just for work purposes and logistical purposes and COVID, I didn't do it this year, but really that was kind of what really made me change from just playing music to really understanding music in a listening sense. Gives you more of an appreciation for when you listen to classical music, what's actually going into that.
Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
you can hear yourself more, because the
Yes,
winds and the brass, it's way more transparent. And I don't know about you, but I feel like there's this pretty big distance between the winds and the brass and the strings. So it's like you're in your own little chamber group behind the strings, and you can
exactly.
really hear each other. And I like that aspect of it.
I did too. I actually liked it more than a band, I think. Maybe for that reason, the parts were a little more interesting and stood out a little more. There's more variation between the first and the second part, and you just kind of got more features and solos and little duets and stuff like that. So I think going forward, I'd really like to do orchestra some more, maybe in college. I'm sure it's going to be incredibly competitive anywhere I go to school, the orchestra, but I really enjoyed it a
That's
lot.
great.
So
Good, good. I'm glad it was a good experience.
yeah, it really was.
Good. So I'm hoping it'll be kind of obvious why you were chosen for this etude. Alyson is a very lighthearted spirit, always very positive, and it just makes me think of a little bird, just chitter chatter here and there, everywhere, right? And
Yeah.
another thing that kind of got this character of this piece is I don't know if have you seen the movie The Music Man? Or the
No, I
musical.
haven't.
Okay. It's a musical from a long time ago. Robert Preston is the star of the movie, and I watched it so many times when I was a kid. It was just kind of part of our upbringing. But there's a scene where the ladies of the town, the very proper ladies in their very proper outfits and their hats, are talking, and it's just sort of like the old lady talk talk talk. And there's a song that's like pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, pick pick pick, and they're like mimicking chickens, how they
Uh
would
huh.
pick and talk, and it's really cute.
I should
So
watch it.
yeah, yeah.
See where the
But this
info
is
came
this
from.
is really sprightly and upbeat, and as much of a bird character as possible when we play. So um, that's kind of basically it. And a lot of people who are in this group or in the Clarinet Playground group or play from the book Finger Fitness Etudes, they are also pretty familiar with Paul Harris, and he's a composer in London, I'm pretty sure. Has a very big following, and I love his music. And he writes a lot of music for youth, for young players, but also more advanced as well. But I think his specialty is more for young players. And he's really good at melody and really fun characters and quirky things. So it's still very musical, very tonal, but I think a lot of young people can connect with the music a lot faster because it's more than just an exercise. So I think this etude was also influenced by his music, especially the ending, because it has that sudden A flat that hits you out of left field, and then you have the presto ending, and that's a very, very Paul Harris signature ending. So it definitely had some influence by him. But I'm going to share the screen so we can take a look. All right, so here we're looking at the beginning of Little Bird, and you can see here at the top, this is the finger drill. That's the concentration for the etude. C down to middle B, and then up here, G down to middle F sharp with your register key. So a lot of people might think, oh, that's such a simple move, but there are so many mistakes done with just that one little finger and how it moves. So this gives you an opportunity to really think about how you're moving that finger. I like to think about it as you're working on a hinge. So you're moving from your back knuckle as you lift, and then you just relax as you place your finger. So many people collapse down because they're pushing so hard from their fingertip. So you want to make sure you maintain that curve and work on a hinge as much as you can. And I like to think about going down and then coming right back up to the rest of the fingers. Another problem I see is people with their finger too close, like this. And then you can't really get a good difference between the two notes. It starts to get a little muffled, right? So that's what you're going to see throughout the piece, and a lot of times in the form of grace notes. So if you look at measure 5, we see it as a grace note, the F sharp up to G. In the introduction, we see it in the low note area. In measure 7, it's a grace note B to C. So that's kind of how that all came to be. Because the move is less complicated than some of the other moves in the book, right? Let's think about that. I wanted to do something a little different. So like, how can I make this move a little more challenging? So then I turned it into grace notes. As far as other practice ideas, I would encourage everybody to make sure you keep your air blowing after half notes before grace notes. It's going to be very tempting to lift your air, but play those strong and long, and then just move right into the grace note in a more connected way. It's real tempting to just want to breathe in between every measure, and that can get, I don't know, it can really break up the music, and you can lose some phrasing that way. Another thing I like to think about is be light up here and kind of medium here, and then strong at the bottom. And that'll help balance the volume so that you're not too loud up here and you're not too quiet down there. And there's some contrast in this piece. So we have the sprightly little bird, and then here at measure 13 we have the soaring section. So here I think about the bird literally taking flight, and it's smooth, it's connected, it's more legato. And then back right here, back at 21, we're back to the little bird like sitting on a branch and, you know, chatting away with its little bird partner or something like that. So Alyson, when you were working on this and helping me edit, can you think of anything that was significant that we did or that we changed? I'm trying to go back from my memory because that's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been a long time. I don't know that I can remember anything we changed. Yeah, it's been a really long time.
That's okay. What about anything in particular that was maybe challenging to you? We could talk about that.
I feel like something maybe it's coming to mind because we did talk about it, or just because I'm like, this is what I would have done. Making sure that in getting that like bird-like cute character, that the grace note and then the high G don't stick out. I feel like that either was a problem or would have been a problem. But I feel like the notation kind of lends itself to making you take note that low G and middle G, it should be balancing volumes right there.
Sure, definitely. So. And it's really easy for that high G to pop. So we're going to have to temper that and, you know, kind of keep track of that. Also make sure the grace notes are really snappy, really close to the quarter note that they are decorating. That way you don't end up with a lazy grace note like ba-dum, bum, bum. Then it starts to sound like a hippo or something. So we want it to be really light. Ba-dum, bum, bum. This
Uh-huh.
one would be great on E flat clarinet because, I mean, think about it.
Oh
Little
yeah.
tiny E flat clarinet sounding like a little bird. Like that would be a great one to play on E flat. I might dust off my E flat and give it a try. We do have a little bit of a challenging section down here at the odd tempo after the fermata. So we have several grace notes in a row. That's, I mean, I wrote it, but this trips me up sometimes. So there's that part. Just go
Uh-huh.
slowly and work on that individually. And then here on this one, you can use the side for the B instead of having to cross the break. And the fingering is down here to help people with that. And then we have this ending, nice long hold on the A flat, and then suddenly faster here. So since this ending is suddenly faster, make sure you're aware of that so that you pick a tempo at the beginning that allows you to go faster on those last two measures. That way you have some wiggle room. Okay, well, any other like things that you want to say about the etude, Alyson, or how it connects with you?
Um, well, I think it's just a really cute, fun little thing to play. It reminds me of something we did in orchestra. I don't know why the name is slipping me, but it was like 8 Russian dances or 8 Russian folk songs or
Okay, yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I remember that.
I
Okay.
I can't remember what the name of the composer was, but this reminds me a lot of that. There was one that was like something with bird song, um, and I had played that before, and it had a lot of this little grace note, the same sort of character stuff. So I feel like it's something I'd done before and enjoyed playing before. And yeah, that I was reminded that one part with the grace notes and then the quarter notes, that little 2 measure section, that was the hard part
Yeah.
here, was just
Yeah.
coordinating that. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is a fun little piece. I like bird character
That's
on
good.
clarinet. Very fun.
Yeah, I think it fits nicely.
Yeah.
And there is a low C version of this one. So you get a few low D's and some low C's in there. So that's a nice variety. So if you have a low C instrument, you can play around with that one. Especially on a bass clarinet, this F sharp to G in measure 5 hits a zone of the instrument that is really challenging for voicing. So the low C version takes that down an octave. And I'm trying to remember, I think it goes G, C, G. So it's open G, C, and then low G. That way it's a little bit easier to manage. So, if you have a low C instrument, you kind of pick and choose what you like from each etude. So if you are really comfortable in this range on bass or any low C instrument, you can hold on to this and then play the other parts that are written down to low C. So you can kind of piece it together how you like. And I always encourage people to add their own little things. So you could add some extra grace notes or little turns or anything that feels bird like to you or that helps you connect to the music better. That's great. I like to hear that kind of stuff too. All right, so I'll play just a little bit of it so you can get a taste of the style and the character that I was going for. So you get an idea of a starting point, and then we'll see what you do with it and where you'll take us with it. Okay, I think that's about all I was going to say about the etude, and now I want to chat with Alyson a little bit more. Well, let's talk a little bit about what your plans are for next year. What are you planning to study, and do you have a school finalized yet, like where you're going to go?
Well, I am really not sure on the school yet. Decisions for many schools I applied for don't come out until April 6th. So there are some that I know. The only two that I'm certain of right now that I've been accepted to are OU and UNT. And then I've got like 12 others that I'm waiting to hear back from. So I'm thinking, if I end up going for a cost-effective option, I really like UNT. I really like the culture there. Oddly enough, I am planning on being a biochemistry major, so I'm not even the music part that's drawing me to UNT. And I probably wouldn't be in, it would be very hard for me to even get into one of their ensembles there. But they have a culture that really appeals to me there. So I think that's a strong contender. And it's there in Denton where my family is. A lot more cost effective than OU is going to be, which is strange since it's out of state.
Right.
But other than UNT, some schools I really like. I really like Rice University. All of these are, who knows if I'll get accepted, but I really like Rice. Really like Johns Hopkins. Actually, that's one that's kind of, after I've interviewed there, and there's some things about Dartmouth that really stand out to me as far as the culture there and the friendliness. Maybe they're a little less concerned with status is the vibe that I get. Nice. So those are probably my top three. Who knows if I'll get into them schools. So we'll see. We'll see. Will I pick the cost-effective option, or will I be a struggling neuroscience major? I have no idea. No clue. Guess we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, pre-med track is where I'm thinking for now, but there are so many things I haven't tried, so many opportunities that I haven't gotten to access yet, and so I never say never to new things. Who knows? Maybe I'll take a journalism class and end up being a journalist or something. You never know with me. So
yeah, and with college, it's like the thing that a lot of people say is like, you don't know what you don't know. So when you start taking some classes, you start to open your eyes to so many more options that you had no idea about.
Right.
And that's kind of like, you go into what you're interested in, but you're probably going to find an offshoot and then a specialty, so something will grab your attention.
Right. I feel like I'm just not at that level of expertise yet to say, which is very frustrating, because in sending all these applications out, you kind of have to create a narrative, that paints a picture of, I'm absolutely certain of what I want to do, so that they're confident in your ability to succeed in that field. So it was a little bit of a pain to kind of have to paint such a black and white narrative when really my path in life is incredibly, I don't know what word to use. I'm a little bit neurotic. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell them that, but I could totally see myself completely changing my field because there's so many things I haven't tried.
Yeah.
So
and that's good.
I think I'm
open.
confident, but
yeah.
Right.
Very good to have an open mind, because if you're in a very narrow mindset, then it's very hard to change if another opportunity comes along, because you think, oh, I have to follow this path that I committed to, but really you could change.
Right. Like knowing what I know now, I'm confident that, I want to do medicine. Well, with my worldview right now, that is what I see myself doing. But I mean, this is a pivotal time in life, so I never say never.
Well, that's wonderful. I look forward to seeing where you end up going, and of course we'll finish out this year together. And thanks so much for being on this little chat. And for those of you watching, I'll work on making a recording, maybe on E-flat. We'll see. I gotta dust off the old girl and see if she still plays. But I'll look forward to hearing everybody's posts and see what kind of characters you can bring out in this piece. and hopefully also work on that little middle finger of your right hand. Well, thank you, Alyson, and I'll see everybody next time. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.